There is a belief that the middle child is sometimes excluded, neglected, and sometimes really outright ignored because of their birth order. But what if you're the middle child of a family that sits in the middle of a clan? You get me?
Not really.
Bear with me, allow me to explain. See, it's not exactly at the front of Peugeot's lineup when it comes to size. It's not as tiny as, let's say, for example, the 2008. Then it's also not as large as the 7-seater crossover, which is the 5008. So it sits right dead smack in the center. And then, in terms of its category and price, it also sits right dead smack in the center. It's not as expensive as the premium crossovers, say like the BMW X3 or the Audi Q3. And at the same time, it's also not at the other end of the spectrum, which is the more affordable crossovers like the MG HS or the Toyota Corolla Cross. It sits in the middle where it wants to be premium without the premium price. And there you've got company like the Subaru Forester and of course the Mazda CX-5. The question is, does it have what it takes to keep itself in that category and break out of the middle child syndrome and become really the the French apple pie of your eye? Dude, I had to add the French. There is no denying that the exterior of Peugeots are actually very darn good looking. It's true, it is. However, it doesn't exactly stand out with the rest of its family. You can tell that the lineage is there. But in its category, oh truly, it does stand out. On its front clip, the Peugeot 3008 already has obvious cat-like design elements, really. These can be seen where it has little cuts and creases that make it look like it has something like whiskers, really. And then it's also evident in the sleek LED headlights that look like cat's eyes, and then its signature vertical LED daytime running lights. At the side of the vehicle comes sleek body lines along with small accents that extend from the headlights to the A-pillar of the vehicle. There is also a nice chrome accent at the bottom to help break the body lines along with the silver roof rails up on top. It also comes with LED repeaters on the side mirrors, which complement its, well, more modern design. There's also 198 millimeters of ground clearance, 18-inch wheels wrapped in 55 series tires with disc brakes all around. Oh, there's also yet another thing I want to mention down the side, which is pretty cool, because the doors of all Peugeot cars come all the way down. Now this may not be a big thing, but it's really cool when it's like raining like this and muddy out not, because then when you step inside the vehicle, your pants or your legs don't get dirty because all the dirt gets caught here, not inside the car. Pretty cool, huh? Now at the rear, you've got a pretty wide rear, really, with your third brake light found up on top, and then the LED headlights are similar to what the front clip looks like because it's got like claws of a lion or cat coming down. That's pretty cool. What I do like about it is that this area is blacked out, and it's a nice cut or divider between glass and body. And these covers right here for the rear taillights, they're not smoked. It looks dark because the interior is actually dark, but these are not smoked, which I actually quite like because then it doesn't diminish the amount of light that comes out from your tail lamps. It's just something. And then found down below, you have two exhaust tips, but they're actually four because the exhaust is actually found somewhere underneath. Oh, there it is. Now, one cool thing I love about the Peugeot is that, well, look at me. I don't stand very tall. I'm 5'5", which is barely anything. And the car is not that much taller than me, maybe 2 or 3 inches at most. But when you open her up with the power tailgate, get this, you are looking at 591 liters of space. How they do that, I really have no idea. That's a balikbayan box with the tonneau on, and then even more space on the sides to do anything that you want. And then when you fold the second row, you're looking at over 1,600 liters of space in a car that's, like I said, it's not that big. I love that, especially as a family person that has a lot of toys, bags, groceries that go in every weekend. I'm loving this space. Oh, and by the way, it may have a higher lip than the bumper itself, but at the very least, it's flat. So sliding heavier objects, big heavy objects, is not an issue at all. Step inside the rear seats of the 3008 and it's comfortable. It's comfortable in the sense that the chairs have a lot of give. There isn't much bolstering, so sliding in and out of the automobile isn't an issue. And then a third passenger also won't be that big of an issue because there is no tunnel to speak of. Of course, the air vents are going to get in the way, but at least if you need to put 3 passengers in here, it's not an issue at all. Now, this is Jack's normal driving position. I am obviously not as tall as Jack, but my space is actually pretty darn good. It's a case of if a tall person is driving, then a tall person actually can't sit behind, which is, we found that to be true in a lot of cars. But if Jack is in front and I'm at the rear, then it's really not an issue at all. Toys back here include, I already mentioned the air vents, but below that is a USB charging point, just one. In the center, you have an armrest with 2 cup holders that pop out, and then you have bottle holders on either door. However, the armrest is a little low, so you're relegated to put rather small bottles in here, okay? But the door is nice because it's got a lot of textures in it. It's got soft leather here, harder plastics down below where you will kick it with your shoes and whatnot, so it's easy to clean. And then sort of like, again, a jean material that's found here, and most everywhere inside the car. It's jean. It's like, it's Billy Jean is not my lure. There's also a panoramic roof that you can share, and then you'd think that that would be it. No, but if you need light back here, there's actually a pin light for you here in the back, which is, I think that's actually pretty cool. They didn't really need to put that there. They could have put just one light for the rear when you need light to see what it is that you're loading in and out of the car. So this is not necessary, but yet it's there. Overall, I think it's a very comfortable experience, and it's amazing how much space I still have in here with Jack's normal driving position, me in the back, and yet still have over or almost 600 liters of space in the back. It's quite impressive how they do that. It truly, truly is. Up front in the 3008, you get more of those textures that I was talking about in the back. You've got the Billie Jean is not my love up front, and then you've got soft touch materials up here mixed with harder touch materials just in smaller places. This here is soft. The harder touch plastics are actually found down below. Again, I figure that's there because when you bump your feet there, when you get in and out of the automobile, it's much easier to clean. But the materials in here's actually much better, so you understand why it commands a higher price tag. You got power seats, and then of course the iCockpit, which is indigenous, so to speak, to a Peugeot, which is that it's something that you may need to get used to, but it's actually quite easy once you do get used to it, because the steering wheel sits a little bit lower, and instead of looking at your infotainment, or rather your instrument cluster through the steering wheel, you actually look above it. So the steering wheel is positioned, like I said, a little bit lower, but it is easily moved. You have an all-digital affair when it comes to your instrument cluster, and then you have a 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system located here. Below that are some Fang-like or even piano keys for several functions like your air and your radio or your nav or your phone that you can get to immediately instead of going in depth of the touchscreen and getting lost in some of the levels there. You have an electronic shifter, drive modes as well, and then you've got a sport mode that is paired very well with the paddle shifters. There's a couple of things that I'm not too sure about inside the automobile is, number one, the infotainment system. There are a few levels that it does have a certain of a learning curve to it. Like for instance, I wanted to connect my phone via just Bluetooth, but the list of the Bluetooth was full, so I had to delete stuff, which is normal. But here, it actually searches for the paired unit first before it can delete it. So if that paired unit is nowhere near you, then you don't have any space. But then that's only going to be a problem for media people like myself, because we borrow cars left and right and it goes to everyone. And then the second thing is cruise control. The automobile does have it, but the buttons are not found on the steering wheel. The functions are actually found on a stalk right underneath your turn signal stalk. But I don't know, I guess I got used to the fact that the cruise control would be on your steering wheel instead of a stalk, which is, it's kind of hard to operate if you're not used to it. But then again, like the infotainment system, once you get used to it, then it's not really an issue. It's really a small thing, and it's not much compared to the loads of cool things that you get inside this automobile, which is a great interior with great materials, good design too, like there's an upper dashboard and a lower dashboard. You've got tech-like drive modes and an electronic shifter. You also have wireless charging in the center. And then there's mood lighting inside this automobile. When it's dark, even the lights for the cup holders go on, as well as the sides of the doors. It comes on, and there's a nice blue tinge to it. So you just feel like you really want to keep driving and driving kind of thing. It's very calming. And cool too is this huge center console here that it's cooled actually. And Jack, why would you put an insulated bottle inside a cool box? I don't understand. Well, anyway, it is a cool box, and good Lord, what else do you have in here? Hey, that's mine. Feeling lonely, are we, Jack?
It's yours.
Fabcon? Dog food? Really? Ay, nako. Let's go for a drive, shall we? But before we do click the like button if you deem it worthy of a like from you guys. And if you can, do give us a subscription to our channel, because we love creating these videos just for you. Damn, that hurt. Ow! Now for safety, the 3008 comes with dual front airbags, side airbags, and curtain airbags, which is pretty standard for its segment. But aside from this, the crossover also comes with ABS with EBD, electronic stability program, rear and front ultrasonic parking sensors, and advanced grip control. And it also comes with advanced driver assistance systems such like blind spot monitoring, active lane keep assist, and advanced driver attention warning. Up front is a 1.6-liter gasoline engine that is a twin-scroll turbo that produces 165 horses and 240 Nm of torque. Extremely respectable, I might add, mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, the turbo does kick in very early, yes, and it is a front-wheel driven car, but it's doesn't kick in a manner that it's very violent or jarring at any point. No, it's not. It's very, well, I'm not going to say linear, because we've said that we wouldn't use that word too much, but it's very smooth actually. It still will put you in your seat properly, but it's not violent in the sense that there's any wheel spin that will happen. No, traction is actually very good. Oh, and also I must mention that even if this is a gasoline engine, unlike the Peugeots that first entered the Philippines, which were all diesels back then, fuel efficiency is actually, well, pretty respectable too. See, in the city, in pretty heavy traffic, we were doing about 8.5 kilometers per liter, which is pretty decent. And then on the highway, even more so at 22.5 kilometers per liter. So really, that's pretty good. Accelerating, let's put this guy into sport. Then use the paddle to downshift into second, and boom. Oh yeah, that's fun. Sounds pretty good too. Okay, that car's braking. Let's take it off sport. Another thing I found inside the automobile is that it's very quiet. Yes, you will still hear the engine when you do accelerate and bury the throttle. But overall, the experience while on the highway cruising at 100 kilometers per hour, I found no issues with the automobile, and I thought to myself that, darn, this is quite a quiet car. Quite a quiet car. That's a tongue twister right there. But truly it is. Whether it was road noise or wind noise or traffic, the motorcycles beeping or zooming by, it's very tame inside this automobile. It's very relaxing. And then you couple that with all the great materials that not only that you feel, but also that you see inside the cabin, and then the ambient lighting that comes along when you turn your lights on and it starts to get dark. It's a very relaxing place to be in. Almost like a GT. No, I wouldn't say a GT, but it's very relaxing. The one undeniable thing that all Peugeots have in the country is that if you want something premium and you want to lean away from what everybody else has on the road, you definitely have an option without compromise. That's the cool thing about Peugeot. And it really speaks for people that just want to be different from what everybody else is driving. In Filipino, I guess the closest thing to it is this, para maiba naman, or whatever the French translation is. That's it. How the hell did you know that?
Google Translate.
Ah, well, yeah, okay. The 2022 Peugeot 3008 comes in at 2,165,000 Philippine pesos. So at that price, it falls dead smack center against the competitors that I mentioned earlier in the program, which was the HS and the CX-5. It's definitely more expensive than the HS, but then it does come with better interior, better ride, and better drive. It's more affordable than the CX-5, but then the CX-5 has an all-wheel drive system, whereas this sends power just to the front wheels. When you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, it makes a very good case for itself because, here, let me explain. I have made no secret that the compact crossover segment is one of my favorite segments out there. And one of the favorite automobiles that, for me, that leads that segment is the CX-5. But in this category, with this car, well, if you don't feel like getting a Japanese automobile, you want something different, but let's say, for example, you're not ready to go for a Chinese automobile just yet, this French automobile is actually pretty awesome. It's an awesome choice. And it does definitely kick itself, or that notion of being the middle child, out the window. You know who else was a middle child? Louis Pasteur. And that guy was brilliant. So is this.